Hi. With all due respect to the upcoming interview with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Americans are up to their eyeballs with Congress, and why wouldn't they be? A new Gallup poll shows Congress's approval rating 14%, the lowest it's been in 30 years. One of the reasons has got to be the legislative branch's refusal to exercise any sort of oversight on the executive branch of government, which they are specifically charged in our Constitution with doing. In fact, President Bush has learned that he can simply thumb his nose at Congress because they won't do anything about it. And so he does, over and over and over again. Yesterday, President Bush claimed executive privilege, yet again, in refusing to hand over the transcript of the FBI interview with Vice President Dick Cheney about the CIA leak case. Congressman Henry Waxman stomped his feet, said he's going to move forward with a contempt citation against Attorney General Michael Mukasey. But so what? Haven't we been there before? Of course we have. Multiple White House staffers have simply ignored congressional subpoenas in the last several years. These folks include Karl Rove and former counsel Harriet Miers and Chief of Staff Josh Bolten and former Attorney General Alberto Gonzales. And nothing was done to any of them. Meanwhile, Congress bowed to King George's demands, passed that new FISA surveillance bill, patted themselves on the back big time, too. But they never did anything about the breaking of the law that occurred under the old FISA law. They continue to approve more money for the war in Iraq, most recently another $162 billion, no strings attached, despite promising, remember this, to cut off funding for the war back in 2006. A new book titled The Dark Side by New Yorker writer Jane Meyer suggests top administration officials, including President Bush, Vice President Cheney, Don Rumsfeld, and others may be guilty of war crimes, but Congress has chosen to simply look the other way. A good lawyer might be able to make the case that Congress has been criminally negligent. Here's the question. Why does Congress continue to allow President Bush to get away with so much? Go to CNN.com/Cafferty file. You can post a comment on my blog. It's disgraceful. The question this hour is, why does Congress continue to allow President Bush to get away with so much? Michael in Texas writes, you've got me. I've been screaming about this till I'm blue in the face. The mounds of evidence are all right there. The claims of executive privilege are BS. The American people screaming for impeachment. But I don't for the life of me understand why Pelosi won't let the gloves come off. If Bush is given a free pass, it sets the bar so low for future presidents, we might as well abolish Congress and give the president a crown. Bill writes, a combination of reality and politics. In reality, we have a Bush toady for an attorney general, an overload of conservatives in the Justice Department because of unfair hiring practices, and a conservative Republican-appointed Supreme Court there to uphold any unfair decisions. Politically, the Dems are about to win back the White House. There's no way they want to make waves right now. I think it's the right move. There'll be plenty of time for accountability once John Edwards is President Obama's attorney general. In Houston, Texas, Nuwan writes, what you have in Congress, regardless of their party, are not leaders. They are merely politicians. Politicians put their own self-interest before the country. That's why they are. That's what they are, whether we like it or not. So why would we expect them to do anything different? We, the American people, lose every time we trust their election promises. Ron in Arkansas writes, I think Congress, much like the rest of us, in thinking by re-electing this bozo as our leader, we're as much to blame as anybody for his actions. The goal now is merely to keep him contained, hope he doesn't do any more damage till we can get rid of him in the White House. And Jim writes, I bet the president's wondering the very same thing. If you didn't see your email here, you can go to my blog at CNN.com/Cafferty file. Look for yours there among hundreds of others.